Seth Chumakwabwa is the CEO of the Chamber. Let's speak their thoughts on the proposal by the Finance Minister. Honorable, okay, I've said a number of honorables. I'm mistaking you two for saying, not to say that you're not honorable, but you're welcome, sir, to Eyewitness News.
Thank you. And thanks for calling when
Maybe you should go pick forms and contest one of the constituencies, or maybe it's a prophecy. Anyway, before we talk about specifically the tax exemptions on production of sanitary pads in Ghana plus the importation of materials for same, I want to pick your thoughts generally on the budget as you followed it yesterday. What are the key takeaways for you as industry, and what are the things that you wanted to hear about that maybe you did not hear?
Well, thank you very much. Yes, so we made input into the preparation of the budget as we normally do. And in our inputs, we highlighted a couple of things. And I think some of them were taken on board. So we'll come to that. Some of the tax relief that we wanted, the zero VAT, zero VAT, and and then others. Of course, there were others that were also not mentioned at all, which would have loved that there was a mention of it. Some of the taxes like the state levy and a few others. But generally speaking, some of the inputs we made were taken on board. The other aspect is that we were also very interested in seeing indicators that point to macroeconomic stability or improvement in the economy, how we can consolidate that. So one of the key inputs we made was that one of the major challenges that most businesses have is when we have an uncertainty in the market. If you recall last year, we had serious challenges. Getting to the end of the year, inflation was about 3.4%. Exchange rate was depreciating so fast, highly unpredictable. Interest rates of high, cost policies of best skyrocketing. So if you put all that together, we thought that macroeconomic environment is key in order for businesses to plan and expand and grow. And therefore, when there's such an uncertainty, it's not good enough. So in this budget, we actually made strong point that we want to see significant gains being made in the macroeconomic environment. We do acknowledge that for the past 2 quarters or so, there has been some stability, or one could say recovery of a sort. And therefore, the question is, how do you consolidate that recovery that or stability is experienced and actually move into next year with that recovery? And when you consolidate it, then you are sure that subsequently you can achieve growth. So in this budget, there are a few pointers. For example, inflation is expected to end of year inflation for next year is expected to be about 15%. And that for me is significant because right now we're doing about 38 or 4%. Now I think about 28. So if you could end next year with 15, I think it's reasonably okay compared to the last year or so. Sometimes, way back year, even close to being about 7% or below 10%. But then we also know that we are in crisis, in a difficult environment for some time now. So we cannot expect overnight, solutions to change. And therefore, a bit of gradual improvement is fine. So 15% of the year, and exchange rate stability, be able to continue with it. We all point to reasonable macroeconomic stability. Of course, we are also expecting that when we have inflation dropping and policy rates coming down, they want to reflect in interest rates. These are the areas that we have serious challenges, and we do expect that end of the year next year, we should have improvement in all this. But beyond the macro environment issues, we also make very specific requests about measuring the tax relief that we wanted. And then also we talked about the need to increase production to support the productive sector, especially agriculture and industry and manufacturing. The linkage is important, the policies are important, there are strategies to go around it. Even though the budget, we didn't talk too much about it, there were indicators of it in the budget. Agriculture, poultry, the fact that over the past year or so, government secured about 5.5 billion dollars for I mean, not that they facilitated with the procurement of these. We are pointing to good direction. So we need to do, I think the whole thing is about the implementation. Some of the concepts, some of the plans, some of the ideas are good. How well we implement it will determine a lot going forward. So generally speaking, there are some positives in this budget that are indicated, but the issue of the taxes, the fact that we thought we also be taxes were not mentioned at all, that being the state levy and then the introduction of the group and sustainability levy, which we thought could continue. But we also appreciate that government has pledged a certain target with IMF, and we are definitely certain revenue to be able to meet IMF requirements for the subsequent countries to come in. So it's a difficult situation. We are torn between the rock and the hard place. We can't have it all, but if what we have indicated in the budget, we work at it, implement it where we advocate the right resources, I think that we will go a long way to help.
Very well. So if we are between a rock and a hard place, then maybe the assertion by the minister, in fact, the christening of the budget, Nkonim budget, may not be entirely accurate. You agree?
Oh, these are Nkonim budget. I don't want to go into.
So I mean, this is just a slogan, but the overall import is that this is a budget that would win the government another term as it seeks to break it does a political side of things, which you don't have to really bother yourself with, but it presupposes that the foundation is solid, and this budget projects some beautiful stuff for us in the next year, which would perhaps push the party into a winning mode or an Nkunim mode. That's what I'm trying to interpret this to mean. Do the indicators look very good, so good, or the minister perhaps is being overly ambitious?
Well, I think that as to whether it's a clean budget and people will look at it on the basis of that party, as you really said, that we are going to the political level, which I don't want to go there. That one depends on the individual to decide. But I think if you look at the fact that it comes from a very difficult situation. Last year was a terrible year. So we are in crisis for some time. The economy has gone down so much to the extent that we have to do debt exchange, we have to bring in the international financial institutions to come in to help. We have to bring in the IMF and all that. Clearly, it's really difficult. So suddenly, if we have a positive development, we can recognize it, but we expect that we're going to see significant transformation in this budget or next year. I don't think that is to be expected. Consolidating what we have, and if you look at government's own projections, we are projecting GDP growth of about 2.8%. We were achieving about 8% at some point, even every part of the current administration. So we have been in crisis, and we are projecting 2.8%. So we cannot say that things are going to be significantly transformed. What I'm saying is that from the indicators and from the projections, we are seeing reasonable stability. What is important is to consolidate this stability and then later look at growth going forward. Okay. We are in the stage of recovery. The gradual recovery is what I would say, but I would not call it transformation.
I see. Now, let's speak about the issue of the sanitary parts. It's good news what the government has said. May be bad for the people who import, but good for those who produce locally. Is our industry ready? Do we have the capacity to produce? They have given you a waiver on the importation of the raw materials. Is that enough?
Well, I don't think, first of all, it's a bad news for those who import and only good news for those who produce in Ghana. For me, it's a good news for all. Good news for all in the sense that we all appreciate that we need to grow our local economy. We should reduce our import dependency. Those who import, why are they importing? They are importing to make sense. They import and sell. If we reduce the duty, if we take out the duty on imported raw material, and then we also exempt them from the VAT, that is basically means that it makes the local production a bit more competitive because of this tax waiver. It doesn't mean that the importers can actually buy from local sources and sell. At the end of the day, you still consuming public or the users we are targeting. And you could either buy it from local sources or import. If import is becoming expensive, there's nothing wrong buying from local sources and selling. You still make your distribution market. So I think that is how it is seen. And therefore, it shouldn't be considered a bad news for any group. It is for all of us.
I see.
Now, the question
of capacity.
Yeah, the question of the capacity, we have adequate capacity. Some of the companies are actually producing under capacity. One company is producing about 30% of its installed capacity. Another is using about 50 or 45%. When you put the companies that are producing together, they actually have excess capacity. They can produce and supply the whole market. In fact, some of them are even doing other products like that, and they have to necessarily export in order to stay in business because the local market is not big enough. The challenge has been that conditions haven't been that good for the local producers, and therefore they are compelled to shrink or cut down volume. So if today there's an opportunity of this nature, and prices could be lower for the local producers, and the market is buy, then naturally they will expand. So if you have already installed capacity, all you do is increase the raw material volume that you pay. And for the fact that you are not paying duty on it, it is easier to import the raw material this time and then increase your capacity. So I don't think capacity is an issue. We always said, and I think it's a trend that we're trying to look at producers. And I can assure you they can live up to the situation.
Okay.
Besides, capacity is also built over time. Even the importers who are big time traders, sometimes when they realize that it's an opportunity created locally, they may end up setting up their own company. It doesn't take that much time and effort, and if you have a lot of resources, you can convert your warehouse, bring machines, and start producing. Bring the raw materials and start producing here. So we can easily build the capacity. If you don't create market opportunity, capacity will never be developed. So even if we didn't have the capacity now, over the period, once this opportunity has been created, others will come in. But even the current resource capacity, for me, is adequate for the whole country's consumption.
Talking about opportunities, and this is my last question, the government also announced some tax waivers on the importation of electric vehicles, electric cars, whether damaged or not. Considering that we are trying to build an automobile industry, there's this whole fuss about how we are doing assembling locally and all of that. There was even a ban on the importation of so-called salvage cars to preserve the local car manufacturing industry. I get a sense that the government is giving with one hand and taking with the other now that it has announced the importation of these salvage electric cars. Would that be a fair fear from my side, or I am not understanding the plan well and things are all going to go well?
Well, my understanding of it was that they extended the exemptions for the automobile assembly plant, which means that if you bring the parts to assemble, you are exempted. So that facility is there for the local assembly plant. And then even the electric vehicle, if you want to assemble them here, you are given a similar dispensation. So in that sense, it is still aimed at encouraging local production. It is not aimed at encouraging importation. The essence of this is that since you are doing assembling here, you must encourage local production, get the local producers to reduce costs as much as possible so that it can be patronized. Besides, we're also talking about continental free trade agreement, and we cannot build the capacity to be able to assemble cars here and we take the whole of African market. You can do good business and bring jobs here. So I think that is the essence of it. We are also aware that when it comes to electric vehicles, it is a new trend, and if you don't give encouragement for people to gradually invest into it, you get to a point where it becomes quite popular, but Ghana wouldn't have any opportunity, any plans to produce. So at this moment, government is thinking of saying, why don't we immediately encourage local production? We know that we don't have the facilities here yet. We need to have the charging centers, so many things go into it. We have not developed them yet. But once we give movement, once we give incentives, then investors will begin to think that, if there are these incentives, then it makes economic sense for me to go. And then we gradually capture the market. So for me, I think the concept is good. Let's encourage it, and let's encourage local assembly. Of course, this cannot happen overnight. Electric vehicles cannot overnight take over the market. The normal fossil fuel or the diesel or the one that we are using, so it's still going to be around with us for a very long time. So those who are producing it, let's encourage them to do so. So I think I like the concept that both the current one, which are already operating here, are having the exemption, and then the new ones that will be developed for electric car production will also be given exemption. So I think it's a good concept.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
Thank you, too.
That's Seth Chuma Kwabwa, he is CEO